Welcome to my world. Handicapped man down at a charity feed. Great spread this morning. God, it was horrible. But it made what I needed to happen. Then I had these people that stopped and said, "Hey, you want some shoes?" I said, "Yeah, I was going to need to get some anyway. So might as well." And if it really comes to fruition, help them buy more shoes so that we can help more people. Well, I'm not but you know what I mean. Hell, might as well. There's nothing wrong with helping someone.
Race friends, they're back together again. Live from Daytona Beach, Florida, it's Scratch with a K. And live from Las Vegas, it's Alan Michaels. Right here, right now, on the flagship station, the WCOBM TV network. It's on Pit Road Racing.
Everybody, here he is, my partner in crime and racing and all that. He's down in Daytona Beach, Florida at the Nutcheck Studios. That's Scratch with a K, my friend. Good afternoon to you, buddy.
Hey, good evening to you, sir. How are you doing?
I keep forgetting, man, we're on these big time differences here. You're on the East Coast,
yeah,
and
but
I'm on the West Coast.
You're greeting me correctly, and I'm greeting you correctly, and that's all that matters.
All right, man. That sounds good. How you doing, buddy? Good?
Doing good, man. How about yourself? Everything good out there?
Hey, it was a busy weekend. We about froze. We about froze our nunnies off Friday night with the truck races. I mean, I thought the snow was getting ready to fall. It was so cold. Saturday, it warmed up a little bit. Breeze were still rolling, but beautiful Sunday afternoon for the Pennzoil 400 presented by Jiffy Lube Scratch. It was a sellout crowd. I mean, I was looking, man, and I couldn't find too many open seats at all. I mean, you know how that is. People will buy tickets. Yeah, I want to go. And Sunday comes, it's too cold or it's too hot.
Oh,
You know what I mean? But anyhow, but a sellout. Hey, real quickly, Scratch, I got to stop before we get rolling here. I got to shout out to Lee Pittman, Gene, and Dave West. Thanks, guys. You were absolutely right. I was in a hurry on Sunday afternoon. We had 2 minutes to do the final clip before Fox rolled into that spot we were at, and I mispronounced. I said the Woods, as in Woods. Brothers, and it is Wood Brothers. It was my mistake. They called me out on it online, so I'm here to fess up. I rushed it, and I just done a spot for the Gene Woods racing experience, and so then got all tongue-tied, and they go, "You got 2 minutes on the deck, get out," and I rushed it, so it was not the Woods Brothers, it was the Wood Brothers. Okay, and thank you to Lee and Dave and Gene and everybody else out there for pointing it out. Okay, I just wanted to make.
I'm sure they accept your apology.
All right,
I'll speak on behalf.
Okay, on Pit Road Racing, brought to you each and every Thursday right here at the WCOBM studios here in Las Vegas, 450 Fremont Street. Everybody, Scratch is down in Daytona Beach, Florida. That's the home of NASCAR racing and speed right there in Daytona Beach. He's not too far. Well, you're about 8-10 minutes from the track, aren't you?
Yeah, about that.
But actually, where you live is not even less than a quarter of a mile from when they used to race on the beach, right?
Oh, it's actually on the course.
Oh,
where I live. So for race fans that's been here and visited and know about the beach track, where the North Turn restaurant is, which is the northern part of the track,
right?
Where they come up from the beach onto the asphalt. I live 3 blocks from there. So I on the track side. So I live south of there. So I live on the track side. So I literally live on the track. You know what? Maybe next episode I'll get a picture of the beach course and give you an idea of where I live. But yeah, right on the old beach course, man, before they even built the Daytona International Speedway.
Here you go. I want to thank our show partners, the Gene Woods Racing Experience, Woods Family Sandwiches, the Hot Shoe Hall of Fame, the Las Vegas Motor Speedway, Atlanta Motorsports Park, Red One Scooters, and Hammer and Harry's. Hey, we're going to take a look at racing weather and around the track. I've got the weather. Scratch has got around the track. So here we go. Racing weather brought to you by our good friends at Woods Family Sandwiches, 931 American Pacific Suite 106 here in the Las Vegas Henderson. More information about catering, log on to the World Wide Web at WFSandwiches.com. NASCAR is going to be in Homestead, Florida, and the outlook for Friday and Saturday is looking mostly sunny skies with a slight chance of rain late afternoon, only 10%. chance for a daytime. The daytime high is going to be in the upper 70s, nighttime lows in the lower 50s. For Sunday, 50% chance of a late afternoon shower with daytime high right around 80. But Scratch, a big thing that came out from the National Weather Service's red flag warning had went into effect this morning at 11 a.m. all the way till 8 p.m. tonight for most of South Florida, including the Miami-Dade County area, which means if the people are going to go to the beach, they might be smelling some fish.
Yeah. Plus, they're having some fires down that way too. So it's going to smell like burnt fish probably.
Yeah. IndyCar's out here on the West Coast. They're at Thermal, California at the Thermal Club, man, on the circuit. Great race and weather for our IndyCar drivers and fans. Sunny skies all weekend long. Daytime highs up in the upper ladies, possibly low 90s, dropping off to the mid-60s for a nighttime low. F1 is back in action, round number 2 for the 2025 season. They're going to be in Shanghai, China. Going to be mostly sunny skies all weekend long at the racetrack with daytime highs right around the mid-70s, dropping off to mid-50s in the nighttime. Going to be NHRAs out on the West Coast, too. Our friends are going to have sunny and warm weather in the desert racing for our drag racing friends with daytime highs in the upper 80s, dropping off up into the lower 60s for a nighttime low. And for the World of Outlaws, the late models are going to be in Swainsboro, Georgia. Well, the weekend on the track is looking great. Sunny skies with a daytime high right around 70, dropping off to a nighttime low in 40. The sprint cars are going to be in Page, Texas for the greatest show on earth. Weather is just right for a race in there. Highs in the low 80s, nighttime lows in the mid-60s. In the mid-60s. All right, that's a look at race and weather, everybody. Brought to you by our good friends at Woods Family Sandwiches, located 931 American Pacific Suite 106 in the Las Vegas Henderson area. If you want some more information about catering and all the great details, World Wide Web, wsandwiches.com. Scratch, take us around the track.
Hey, man, we're going to start off with the AMA Monster Energy Supercross race number 10, Birmingham, Alabama, March 22nd, Protective Stadium. The flat track race is going to be Saturday, March 29th, 2025 at Yamaha Sanoa Short Track in Sanoa Raceway, Sanoa, Georgia. Speedway East Coast Champion Speedway, May 3rd, Spring Classic. Action Park East, May 24th, Outlaw Nationals, Round 1. West Coast, Paris Raceway, April 20th is the opener. Fast Fridays in Auburn starts on May 19th, and Costa Mesa 55th year starts April 12th. Industry Hill Speedway, March 29th. Formula One, March 21st and 22nd at Heineken Chinese GP. IndyCar, March 23rd at the Thermal Club, 3 p.m. Eastern. TV coverage on Fox. Greatest day in racing is May 25th. The Indy 500 Indianapolis Motor Speedway. That'll take place 10 a.m. TV coverage on Fox. NHRA, March 21st, 22nd, and 23rd at the Arizona Nationals. NOS Energy Series, March 21st and 22 at the Cotton Bowl Speedway. NOS Outlaw Late Model Series, March 21st and 22nd, Swainsboro Raceway. NASCAR is back in action with the ARCA East, March 22nd at Five Flag Speedway. ARCA West, April 5th at Tucson Speedway. The trucks, they'll be at Baptist Health 200 in Homestead, Miami Speedway this Friday. That's tomorrow at 8 o'clock. And the Xfinity Series will be in the Hard Rock Bet 300 at Homestead, Miami Speedway this Saturday at 4 p.m. The Cup Series Straight Talk Wireless 400 also at Homestead, Miami Speedway Sunday at 3 p.m. That's a look around the track. Alan, what do you got next? I'm sure he'll be right back. Miami Homestead this weekend, man. All 3 series. That's going to be great. Right down south from where I'm at there. So yeah. I'm not too far away from here. I haven't been there in a long time. There you are. I haven't been there in a long time.
Good track, man.
I should go down there sometime. You know, it's right down the street.
Not this weekend. Go smell fish, man. There we go. Hey, I want to say hi to Guy. I want to say hi to my buddy Guy Dawson out there. Remember Guy Dawson, man, from the OKLAV days? Guy's watching the show today out there, so we want to say hi to Guy. out there. Hey, taking a look at, let's get some NASCAR stuff. They were here in Las Vegas, segment brought to you by the Las Vegas Motor Speedway, LVMS.com. Up next out at the track is going to be the NHRA 4-wide Nationals at the Strip, April 11th through the 14th. And NASCAR returns for the round of 8, actually, South Point 400, October 10th, 11th, and 12th. Well, Scratch, they got him rocking and rolling over at the Speedway this past weekend, and it was Corey Day who won the pole for the EcoSafe 200 with a lap of 30.388 seconds. That's 177.702 miles an hour. That was his first pole in 5 NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. It's his first pole and first top 10 start in 2025. First pole right there at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. But it wasn't going to be old Corey that could hang tight because, man, when it all came down, it was Corey Helm. That's right, the 22-year-old driving the number 11 Safe Light Toyota for Johnny Gray and Scott Zebedelli up on the box. He won the EcoSafe 200, his 13th victory in 67 Craftsman Truck races. And I'm telling you, second victory and his second top finish of 2025. Grant Enfinger up in second in his 10th top 10 finish, looking good. Tanner Gray was third, and Giovanni Ruggiero, highest finish in rookie. Ty Majeski leads the points by 5 over Corey Helm. So just to let you know, wrapping it up, it's Corey Helm with 2 wins, Ty Majeski, Grant Enfinger, Chandler Smith, Stuart Friesen, Ben Rose, Tyler Acom, Gio Ruggiero, and Daniel Hemrick and Tanner Gray wrapping up your top 10. You got some Xfinity action for us. Scratch, tell us all about it, buddy.
Yeah, man. The pole last week in Las Vegas was won by Sammy Smith, but the race, it was Justin Allgaier that hit the jackpot in Las Vegas, because on Friday night, Justin Allgaier saw the Eagles in concert on Saturday, and then he was flying because he held off Eric Almirola over a 102-lap green flag run. Allgaier finally claimed victory at Las Vegas Motor Speedway after finishing second 4 times at the 1.5-mile track. In dominant fashion, Justin Allgaier led 102 laps to win the Luna NASCAR Xfinity Series race at Las Vegas Motor Speedway in his first victory for the 2025 season and his first win at Las Vegas in 22 starts. Eric Almirola won stage 2 and led 51 laps en route to a runner-up finish. Richard Childress Racing teammates Jesse Love and Austin Hill, they overcame mid-race issues to finish 3rd and 4th respectively. Sam Mayer rounded out the top 5. Brandon Jones, he placed 6th. Ryan Sieg, Harrison Burton, Connor Zillett, Sheldon Creed, that filled out the rest of the top 10. There were 7 lead changes among 5 drivers and 3 cautions for 18 yellow flag laps. The average speed of the race was 140.078 miles per hour. The drivers standing as of right now in the Xfinity Series, you have Austin Hill at the top with Justin Allgaier now in second. Jesse Love, he is in third. Connor Zillett, fourth. Sam Mayer is rounding out the top 5 there. Next up is Sammy Smith, Sheldon Creed, Taylor Gray, Ryan Sieg, and Kristen Eckes. That's 6 through 10. And then in 11th, you have Jeff Burton. In 12th, you have Harrison Burton. And currently below that is Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s driver, Carson Guapo. He is 13th with Brandon Jones, Nick Sanchez, and local boy from right here, Daniel Dye in 16th.
Looking good. You know what? We had Jesse Love in the studio, did a great interview. You were right. Kid is really smart, real intelligent, very professional, very well spoken. Great interview. You can find it on all the channels out there. But Jesse Love, and I thought he had a shot to win it. I really did. This kid held back. He was keeping the car clean. I thought he was going to come, but that's the way she goes.
I met him in a fan perspective, and I had known who he was because of you talking about him, last year,
right.
talent wise, and man, he just seemed like a really, really cool kid, man. When I met him, just as a fan in the infield, coming by, out promoting his stuff,
right.
and man, I look forward to seeing what he can do, man. He's I've been paying more attention this year, and he's definitely impressing me.
He's rocking and rolling, that's for sure. Well, we moved it on to Sunday Scratch for the big show, the Pennzoil 400, presented by Jiffy Lube. And man, I thought this. You know what? I put a couple of bucks on him because I thought this could be a win. 71, Michael McDowell, man, for Spire Motorsports, made his move over. That car was hot, man, on a pole, man. I thought he had it for sure, but it was Josh Berry, man, for the Wood Brothers, man, that picked up the big-time lead. He battled Daniel Suarez after a restart with 19 laps to go. Josh Berry pulled away in a convincing style in Sunday's Pennzoil 400 presented by Jiffy Lube at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. The win was Berry's first in his NASCAR Cup Series at a track that he won twice in the Xfinity Series car. Berry, his fourth straight win for the Wood Brothers driver, picked up his first Cup win in the number 21. This was his first career win, his and 101st for the Woods Brothers Racing. So their 101 wins, man, picked up their 101th win here in Las Vegas. Suarez finished it up in second. Ryan Preece, great job from Ryan Preece. Great interview on our channels that we did with him too, man. Really stuck it in there. William Byron, the Watermelon Man, Ross Chastain in a top 5. Austin Cedric, Alex Bowman, AJ Allmendinger, Kyle Larson, and Chase Elliott round out the top 10. Pole sitter Michael McDowell finished 16th. Tyler Reddick led the most laps. Stage 1, Austin Cedric. Stage 2, Kyle Larson. 32 lead changes, 13 drivers, 9 cautions, and 93 yellow abs. Average speed of the track, 124.368 miles an hour, my friend. Right now, sitting in the points on top, Christopher Bell with 3 wins. William Byron's got a win. Josh Berry's locked himself in. So those 3 are locked in for a run at the title scratch. Then you're going to set back with the points as it said so far. In 4th spot, Tyler Reddick. Then we're going to Chase Elliott, Alex Bowman, Kyle Larson, Ryan Blaney, Joey Logano, Chris Buescher, Ross Chastain, Bubba Wallace, Denny Hamlin, Michael McDowell, John Hunter Nemechek, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Outside the top looking in. Kyle Busch 2 back, 2 points back, but 16th. Ryan Preece is 14 back. Daniel Suarez stands 22 back, and Chase Briscoe 22 back. So that's what it's looking at racing out there, buddy. And we'll just do that for you. All righty.
Hey,
all right?
Kyle Busch, he was in the mix for a minute. You know what a difference a couple of races will make. Huh? I mean, he's all the way outside the top 16 now. That's one thing I noticed. And you know what else I noticed that I'm surprised you didn't say anything about is I was a year off. On Josh Berry.
Yep.
I thought last year he was going to get over there at Stewart Haas and tear it up after some good fill-in spots the year before. But I wouldn't have thought that. I mean, hey man, he took the Wood Brothers 21 and got him a win within the first 5 races, 6 races, 5 races.
Well, you were one off, and his rookie year when he was, I don't know if you want to call it his actual rookie year, but his first year at Stewart Haas, I picked for him to do very well that year. I just thought he was somebody coming in. I really liked the way Tony talked about it. He said, we were looking for a driver that had some talent, not his daddy had a big fat wallet to pay for everything. And I just thought he would do real well there. And it just goes to show you whether the timing was right, the equipment was right, the race was right, whatever. When it came down to it, the old Wood Brothers machine, the old 21, man. I
think us old school fans love to see that 21 in Victory Lane. I think there's just certain numbers, especially them. They're not, that's their team. That's still the Wood Brothers.
It is
the Wood Brothers team. So it's still a family team. So it's it's nice it's just cool. It's cool for old school fans like us to see that.
There you go. I'm just happy for him, man. And wouldn't it be something? Wouldn't it be something to see this kid go all the way and bring the Wood Brothers back into because for years,
he's sitting third right now. That's pretty good.
They were the team to beat. You think back about who drove those cars when Dale Jarrett was in that car for a while. Ryan Blaney's drove it. Pearson's drove it.
In those Dave Pearson days, if they showed up to more races, Richard Petty and those numbers would be a little bit different than they are today. I
think so.
Yeah, I think that if David Pearson and the 21 car, Wood Brothers car, came to more races back in those days, they didn't, they didn't always run. They run a little, they didn't run everything like the Petties all the time. Right. And I think that if Pearson if Pearson and the 21 would have ran more races, that the Petty's numbers and Pearson's numbers would be. I'm not saying they'd be switching places. I'm just saying they would look different. One would have less wins and one would have more is what I'm getting at.
I was a David, the old schoolers, buddy. I was a David Pearson fan. Yeah. The old Silver Fox, right?
Yeah.
That's his name. It was his nickname, the old Silver Fox, man. I liked him, man. I liked those old days. I liked the beating and banging. I liked it. I liked when they fought down in Daytona in your area.
Yeah.
All right. Couple of minutes here, and we'll get to our first guest standing by, Dr. Anji Thornton, professor of music and a race car driver. Wait till we talk to this lady. Coming up a little bit later on, too, Jan Evans is going to join us from the West Coast. Guy's running West Coast stock cars out there. His dad is in the West Coast Hall of Fame, man. So it'll be interesting to talk to this kid. Real quickly, man, it looks like that they're going to run in Mexico. The event featured for the NASCAR Xfinity Series and Cup Series is scheduled for July 13th through the 15th. Last week, NASCAR Autodrome Hermanos Rodriguez road course held a significant media event for Christopher Bell, Ryan Blaney, Daniel Suarez, and Chase Elliott. In recent weeks, persistent rumors have suggested that NASCAR could cancel the event. They were supposed to go there during the pandemic in 2021. That all got zipped up, so they moved it over to the road course in Daytona. Not too much good because Auto Club Speedway's down. So this is going to be really tricky to see, man. Are they going to go to Mexico or not? So we'll find out. You got some news there about Steve Phelps still optimistic about manufacturers. You want to tell them a little bit about that, buddy?
Sure. There's another sign pointing towards Dodge returning to the NASCAR Truck Series, and it's been found in the promotional packet local dealers are issuing to partners and employees. For example, Wisconsin Dodge dealer Jerry Brickner is under the impression Dodge is indeed returning to the Craftsman Truck Series after attending a viral go-to-market meeting with corporate this week. In an email shared and a screenshot by someone in the loop and passed on to Sportsnot, Dodge dealers are anticipating a Ram activation to include its participation in the division next season. Dodge would then target a return to the Cup Series by 2028, with NASCAR working through several options to incorporate various engine platforms under a BOP-style regulation system. An update on that would be that this would be done through torque sensors, which have since been added to the 2025 rulebook for test sessions and advances for this possible solution to incorporating various power plant types.
All righty. Well, it's going to be interesting to see. Hey, we're going to take a quick break. Scratch. We'll play a break.
Let's go.
Now we'll take a break out there and do that for you. We come back. Our first guest is standing by in the virtual green room. Dr. Anji Thornton, professor of music, teaches college, all kinds of stuff, and she drives race cars too. We're going to talk to Anji coming up right after this, everybody. Stand by on Pit Road Racing. Alan here in Las Vegas. Scratched with a K down in Daytona Beach. We're back right after this, everybody.
Are you ready for the wildest ride on Fremont Street? The Gene Woods Racing Indoor Go-Kart Track Experience. 450 Fremont Street, suite number 171 on the corner of Las Vegas Boulevard and Fremont Street. Open 7 days a week, noon until midnight. Strap yourself in, pull your safety belts tight, and feel the power and the speed at the Gene Woods Racing Indoor Go-Kart Track Experience. Downtown Las Vegas, Fremont Street, 450 Fremont Street, suite number 171, right on the corner of Las Vegas Boulevard and Fremont Street. What are you waiting for? Log on, get your tickets now. It's time to go racing at the Gene Woods Racing Indoor Go-Kart Track Experience, 450 Fremont Street, downtown Las Vegas.
Jerry B. here up in Sacramento, Union Gospel Mission, giving out some shoes to the homeless here. A lot of smiling faces. We got one deal. We give you a pair of shoes. You got to give us a smirk and a photo. And this is the mission of the Hot Shoe Hall of Fame, which is a non-profit organization based out of Las Vegas, started by Gene Woods. We're trying to do good things and fill little holes in people's lives the best we can. And today we're up in Sacramento, just doing the best we can. Thanks for supporting us.
Are you ready for the wildest ride on Fremont Street? The Gene Woods Racing Indoor Go-Kart Track Experience. 450 Fremont Street, suite number 171 on the corner of Las Vegas Boulevard and Fremont Street. Open 7 days a week, noon until midnight. Strap yourself in, pull your safety belts tight, and feel the power and the speed at the Gene Woods Racing Indoor Go-Kart Track Experience, downtown Las Vegas, Fremont Street, 450 Fremont Street, suite number 171, right on the corner of Las Vegas Boulevard and Fremont Street. What are you waiting for? Log on, get your tickets now. It's time to go racing at the Gene Woods Racing Indoor Go-Kart Track Experience, 450 Fremont Street, downtown Las Vegas.
Love it, man. 12,000 square foot of sliding, drifting fun right here, man.
It was when I was there.
Yeah, you just keep talking out there, man. I've already started to lock in the dates for next year. Diane's already put a thing up on the travel calendar, so you ain't going to escape for no wedding parties or no thises or that's or anything else. You're coming out here with me next year. Yeah. I get my rematch. I'm having me a special cart built just for you.
I owe you at least that, though.
You owe me that. All right, you ready to go, man? Let's bring our first guest in, man. I mean, I got this woman's bio, and I mean, my God, if I read the whole darn thing, I wouldn't have any time. We wouldn't have any time to talk to her. I can just tell you, this woman has done a lot of stuff. I mean, she's not only a race car driver, she's a professor. She teaches music. Okay. She drives race cars. I can't begin to think about what it is. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome her, and race friends, please welcome Miss. Or I don't know if it's Miss or Mrs. anymore. Dr. Anji Thornton. Dr. Anji, afternoon. Good afternoon to you, man.
Good afternoon, and thank you very much for having me as a guest on your show. And I'm excited and ready to talk racing.
Well, let's do that, okay, Dr. Anji. The first question that Scratch and I always ask: tell us your racing story.
So my racing story is complex, but in a nutshell, our racing journey began in the mid to late 90s, where my late husband was working at Year One of the suppliers in the Tucker, Georgia area, and one of his clients had called to order a part, and he had asked Steve if the next time he's back in Las Cruces, New Mexico, which is where we're from, if he would like to come and hot lap. So one of the beauty of being able with Steve working at Year One, they were corporate sponsors, and we had backseat. Sorry, I'm all tongue tied. It was a long commute home, but we were invited to NASCAR events, grassroots racing events, as well as NHRA events, and we just built some amazing friendships and relationships. Had the opportunity to meet some wonderful people in racing. And then when we came back to Las Cruces, New Mexico, that's where Rex Porter had invited us. And that was our foot in the door into dirt track racing in southern New Mexico and West Texas. So we hot lapped in his race truck, and it was an amazing experience. It was something very different, but there's a lot of correlations with music and motorsports. And so throughout the years, we grew, we developed, we bought our own truck. We were coached and mentored by Rex Porter. And that is a door that I'm forever grateful of, being able to have this opportunity to go into racing. And so with that, we've been able to travel in what was known as the Governor's Cup Series. And so about 20 years ago, we had 3 dirt tracks as well as 1 asphalt track that was part of that series. And so you had the opportunity of racing throughout the state as well as the local dirt tracks, and having several opportunities for championships, whether it was the Dual City, the Tri-City, or even the Governor's Cup. And it was such an eye-opener of being able to learn different setups of dirt track racing versus asphalt circle track racing, and even drag racing. And so it's just been a wonderful journey of being able to learn from a lot of people. And then unfortunately, in 2008, my husband had left this earth, and starting life over again, I had some amazing people that mentored and coached me and took me under their wing, and learning to adjust to a life without Steve, who had taught me everything that there was about racing, as well as Rex Porter. And learning from the very best of the best in our southwestern New Mexico, West Texas area. And I was just so blown away of learning the geometry and all the mathematics and the components, the engineering of how different it is with an X-Mod versus a race truck. And so it's just been a wonderful journey. And I love the challenge. I love being able to go someplace new and learn the track, learn from other people, being able to push myself and push my truck to the limits. And one thing that I also learned from our mentors is that races are won in the garage. And having Gus Carney, my former crew chief's father, teach me so much about setups, it was a game changer of, instead of struggling and trying to do with what I knew, of learning how to properly do things so that I could be more successful.
Well, Scratch got a question for her?
I had just went through it. That it's something that was always important to me as a racer. I don't know if you can see over my shoulder, but I have a little Ford Focus Enduro car, so I do like full contact racing and stuff like that. Always junk type racing. But something that was always important to me was growing up and learning racing and stuff was my stepdad. Back when I first started liking NASCAR, I had liked Donnie Allison because he ran number one, because my stepdad that raised me, he had ran number one. And now I race number 39 because my stepdad's race car, he transitioned into racing 39 most of his life before he passed. So that's something that caught my eye right here about your number being number 51 in honor of your father-in-law, and it actually being 51 because of Area 51. Do you want to elaborate on that? Like I said, that was just something that I read that kind of tugged on me a little bit because it's something I can relate to.
So my father-in-law had worked at Area 51 a while ago, and then my late husband was also a paramedic. And being born and raised in the 70s, we admired how the paramedic program had evolved and how it's blossomed into what it has become today. And so when you're choosing your branding, your logos, the number, I mean, it's so intimate because there's so much meaning behind everything that you do.
Dr. Anji, now you obviously went to school and are a professor in the music departments, and so that came first and then racing, or was racing first and you went back to school to get your degrees? What sort of came first, and how did you team them together?
Well, they were concurrent. Steve and I met when we were undergrads at New Mexico State, and we always had an affection for racing. And it wasn't until we moved to Atlanta that we had our first upfront live experience of being in the garages when we went to NHRA and NASCAR events. And it was just mind-blowing to see the intricacies of systems and the preparations. And with all due respect, for those that are not involved firsthand with racing, then there may not have a full understanding of what it takes to prepare for the races. It's not just showing up, putting on your equipment and getting out there. It's preparing. It is doing the shakedown, making sure that all of your safety equipment is up to par. It's within the timelines. It is every nut and bolt is tightened. You've adjusted every aspect that you need to be successful.
Are you still teaching?
So yes, I am still teaching. And so as Steve and I had graduated and we moved to Atlanta, I went back to finish my graduate degrees, and then my first season running in the enduro cars Scratch. And so that was kind of how I first cut my teeth, and I said, this looks really fun.
Yeah.
And Rex is just teaching us every strategy in the book of tire pressure, ride heights, you name it.
Yeah.
And at first I went up there and I struggled, and I said, I just can't make this thing turn with a hoop. So we need to think about this. And then that's when he explained the geometry about it. And I said, okay, let's do this, let's do that. And when we went out the second time, it felt like I went from a Yugo to a Cadillac. And so that makes a whole difference of the world when you know your vehicle, you know the mechanical and the geometrical aspects. So then I, after Steve had passed away and I had arranged for the Carneys to be the older brother, John, to be my crew chief, that's where I really started to take off in my knowledge, really starting to take the time to learn all the intricacies of everything, not just setups and mechanical aspects, but driving strategies. What are the strategies you're going to use when the track is sloppy wet versus when it starts to come in and it is super dry and it's almost like asphalt, or almost like driving on a skating rink. And so the two have been concurrent. And then in 2019, I had a cardiac event that just kind of put the pause button on the racing for a while, but I am ready to get back out there and to start racing.
There you go. Who have you admired along your racing career, be it a driver or somebody else?
Well, I have to give thanks first and foremost to my God, because without him, then I am absolutely nothing. He's the one that made me in his perfect image, and I give all the glory and praise to him. And he has also given me some wonderful people in my life, my family, my late husband, and he was the first person that I've really loved and still love and admire and appreciate for opening those opportunities. And Rex Porter, of course, our mentor. And Rex at one time had a drag strip here in Las Cruces in the 1960s. And so he's a very well-known Renaissance driver of racing just about every class that you can possibly think about here and throughout Texas and New Mexico.
Scratch, go ahead. You got a question for?
Yeah, as I had read through your bio, I just saw some of your advice for a generation of young girls, and I just thought that was some amazing advice. And there was just a couple things. Well, there was the thing you said about all things are possible with God. That's just something that reminds me of my mother, so that kind of struck me a little bit. Just read through your bio, there are a couple of things like I said, felt a little personal to me. The one thing, like I used to do wrestling back in the day before got back into racing and stuff like that. And kids as fans, like with my comedy, I don't really have anything like that. But with wrestling, I did, and it was kind of something that was different to me, and it's something that I had missed. And I find that I have that with racing. It doesn't really matter what you're racing. It kind of draws a younger, their kids are impressed by it. So I would imagine, and I guess I'm asking, you probably especially have a lot of young girls or young fans that are just like, just because you're a female driver, that it probably draws a lot of attention to yourself.
Well, I very much support the younger generation. And when I worked at one of my former campuses, I would actually bring the truck with me to school. And they knew Mondays was shop night because I would have it after the races over the weekend, go to the car wash, get it all nice and ready and prepared. So that way we can start working on it and get those underway. And then they would see me bringing the truck to school on Fridays, because Friday nights we would race in El Paso. And I had one student who was just really struggling. And with this being an early college, they were taking their high school classes and their college classes at the same time. And it could be overwhelming and intimidating. And I had a student that just was really in a difficult time saying, well, I can't do this. And I said, look, honey, all things are possible. And I said, I want you to come with me right now. And we went outside into the parking lot, all the way at the very back. And I made sure, first of all, that the truck was out of gear. And I went ahead and I turned the power on. And I said, I want you to start this truck and I want you to feel that power. And at first, she was very intimidated. And I said, look, and I walked her and gave her those instructions of pump the throttle 3 times and then just hold it down until it turns over and then release it. And then you'll flip this other switch. And so she was just, oh my gosh, I'm in a race truck. I can feel the power. And I said, well, that is your potential. And so using those correlations, and there's a lot of relationships with music and motorsports because they're not only both in the entertaining industry, but they also require a lot of discipline, a lot of focus, a lot of collaboration with others. And that's what makes a very successful musician as well as a driver or team.
Certainly does. It does. Unbelievable, huh, Scratch? She's a professor, teaches college and races cars.
And she might be the most positive person I've ever spoken with in my life.
She does. You definitely send an aura out of very positive, and race car drivers have to have that. I mean, because you're going to have good days. You're going to have good days where you got a top 10. You're going to have good days where you top 5. A good day you bring home a win. But then you're going to have those days to where you're starting in a field of 23 and you're 21st. You know, I mean, it's just that's the way it is. But I mean, great. Now, have you been to Dr. Anji? Have you been to Las Vegas and seen our complex out here?
I have not been to your complex in Las Vegas, and that is definitely on my bucket list. And so I may have taken a few years as a sabbatical from racing, but that doesn't mean that I'm not involved or my passion has died. It's just life happened, and you just have to do the best that you can. And going back on that comment of sometimes you're in a world of crap, is that even allowable on this? I'm sorry.
Yes, you're fine. Yes, you're fine.
Yeah, you'll be all right.
Censored? No, I'm just joking. Well, I've had a couple of times where, yes, there were some very dark moments. One of my tracks that I raced in Tula Rosa, New Mexico, which is one of the campuses that I currently serve with, the community is just wonderful people. I didn't even have the tow vehicle in park, and people that I had no idea who they were started coming out. We were late to the races because we got off from work late, and they started putting down our ramps, and I'm like, wow, this is nice. The clay is that terracotta clay that turns into some very fine mist kind of material, and then the racing clay and the two were just not coming together, and there were several soil experts that were out there, and it was so disappointing because it was like the last season that they were open for car and truck racing that they were able to finally get the two to agree. And there was it was so dusty that we couldn't even see. And I'm like, I'm just going to have to put on my big girl pants and just pray for the best. And I saw an outline and I said, okay, good. I haven't run over anybody. So that's a good thing.
That's a good thing.
And then all of a sudden I feel this wham, and all my power just cut, and I'm like, uh-oh. And when the dust cleared, well, there's this giant tire that said Goodyear, like this close to me. And it was a freak accident where one of the other drivers was broadsided, and then he ended up on top of my hood. It was just really weird. And I'm thinking, how bad is it? And they said, well, your whole front end is gone. And I said, but I can still go out there. And they said, no, you can't.
Your front end off of it. Oh, that's something else. Scratch, you've torn front ends off. You've burnt clutches up. You've been there. I know.
Oh, yeah. I got to put a clutch in this weekend, and I've torn the front end off several times.
There you go. Go ahead.
Oh,
go ahead.
Sorry. Well, let me tell you, the trucks are notorious because we use a metric chassis from like a Monte Carlo, and they are notorious if you don't weld and plate and super duper reinforce that area where the trailing arms come in. Well, unfortunately, one race I was going into staging and I was like, wow, it just feels really, really loose. I don't think the pit road is that sloppy wet. What's going on? So another driver from behind me was trying to tap me saying, you have a major problem. Don't get on the track. Well, I didn't know that until after I got on the track, and I was sliding everywhere, and I slid into the infield, and those two components had completely broken off, and it pulled my drive shaft, just separated from the transmission. It was like, oh my gosh. But
That'd have been a wild
That
ride.
sounds like my kind of nights.
well,
Go
go ahead.
I was going to say, we got about a minute and a half left to go before this. I want to thank you for time. Before I let you go, I'd like for you to take a moment to let everybody know where they can find you social media, how you're coming along, your racing, websites, sponsors, anything like that you'd like to give a shout out to.
So I'd like to give a big shout out to everybody. They can find me on social media at Anji Thornton Racing on Facebook and on Instagram, AMT51 Racing. I'd like to give a big shout out to all of my fans, my sponsors and family, and especially my God. And I'd like to give a special thanks to Rex Porter and Rex's Performance and CNGs, and for my fiance, Bobby Melton, and for his family. And they've just been gracious. So thank you all so much for having me as a guest in your show.
Oh, it's a pleasure. You know what? Scratch. There's so much we could talk. We could spend a whole show with this woman right here. We really could. So I'm going to have Diane.
As smart as she is, and as much as she knows about the geometry of the car, you're lucky I didn't ask that question. We'd still be sitting there talking about that. I got to get my piece of junk a little faster.
All right.
Oh, I'm so nerdy. I can just totally geek out about all of that.
Yeah, I hear you.
I'm going to tell Diane to rebook you on the show coming up in September or something. We're going to have you back, and we're going to spend a whole show with you because Diane.
We'll just do an episode of the geometry of racing.
Yeah, there you go.
We
can
do
that. That's it.
We can do a whole series, you know.
Yes, the geometry of racing.
Dr. Anji, thanks so much for taking time with us out here today. We certainly appreciate it. And listen, you're more than welcome to come down. You ever make it to Vegas, get a hold of Diane. We'll get you pit passes. You want to see NHRA, we'll take you there. In fact, the NHRA is coming here in 2 weeks. 4 wide is coming, man. 11,000 horsepower times 4, all getting ready to rock off the strip. Dr. Anji, thanks so much for joining us today. Have a great day. God bless you, honey. And we'll talk to you.
God bless you too.
Thank
you all.
There's you, Dr. Anji. Our next guest, Scratch, Mr. Jan Evans, is standing by in the green room. We're going to talk some Washington West Coast racing with this guy. On Bent Road Racing, Scratches in Daytona. Yours truly here, Alan, in Las Vegas. We're back in 2 minutes. Jan Evans joins us next, everybody.
Are you ready for the wildest ride on Fremont Street? The Gene Woods Racing Indoor Go-Kart Track Experience. 450 Fremont Street, suite number 171 on the corner of Las Vegas Boulevard and Fremont Street. Open 7 days a week, noon until midnight. Strap yourself in, pull your safety belts tight, and feel the power and the speed at the Gene Woods Racing Indoor Go-Kart Track Experience, downtown Las Vegas, Fremont Street, 450 Fremont Street, suite number 171, right on the corner of Las Vegas Boulevard and Fremont Street. What are you waiting for? Log on. Get your tickets now. It's time to go racing at the Gene Woods Racing Indoor Go-Kart Track Experience, 450 Fremont Street, downtown Las Vegas.
Jerry B here up in Sacramento, Union Gospel Mission, giving out some shoes to the homeless here. A lot of smiling faces. We got one deal. We give you a pair of shoes. You got to give us a smirk and a photo. And this is the mission of the Hot Shoe Hall of Fame, which is a non-profit organization based out of Las Vegas, started by Gene Woods. We're trying to do good things and fill little holes in people's lives the best we can. And today we're up in Sacramento, just doing the best we can. Thanks for supporting us.
There we are. And good afternoon. We're back at you. Scratch down in Daytona Beach. Alan here in Las Vegas. Scratch, we'll get to some more of the news. The guests are flowing today, man. Dr. Anji, she was something else, huh?
Yeah, great lady, man. Great racer.
That's it. You ready to go? Let's go. Let's go back to West Coast. Standing by. There he is on our StreamYard satellite service there. Mr. Jan Evans joins out there. Jan, good afternoon. Welcome to the program, buddy.
Good afternoon, Michael. Hey, Sketch with the K. Thank you for having me on.
There you go. First of all, I want to get started with this. Your dad, I want to make sure this, Scratch, he's a racing family, okay?
Yeah, man.
I like
That's
this.
what I like. I like racing families.
Now, your dad was a 3-time NASCAR champion and a West Coast stock car, and is a member of the West Coast Stock Car Hall of Fame, correct?
Correct. Yes, he's a West Coast Stock Car Hall of Famer.
Okay. Now, and what division did he run did he run Cup? Did he run the old Winston West? What did he run?
I believe it was a Winston West series. It was more like the late model touring divisions back then, but it was a pretty big deal back then.
Yeah. Well, my owner of this network is rode NASCAR and did the Winston West series. Mr. Gene Woods. I don't know if you've heard of him. I talked to Gene earlier to find out that he might have been in the same era as your dad. That's what we were trying to find out. When did your dad run?
He ran in like the 80s and 90s. I actually have a little a hero card I have sitting over here too. That's his hero card from back then.
All righty. Well, Scratch, you know what to say to the man. I'm going to let you take it off. Go ahead, Scratch. Tell him what we want to hear.
Okay. Hey, man. So what's it like being part of the Co-Wiki Driver Development Program? That's pretty cool, right? Yeah.
Yeah, so I made it as a semifinalist in the top 13 there. I didn't make it into the final five, but it was really cool being in the selection and doing the interviews for it. I'll probably do it next year again, try and get into the final five, but it's a really cool program that helps younger drivers elevate to the next level.
Certainly does. And we both, Scratch and I, are both Kawiki fans. So let me just get it started this way, Jan. Tell us your racing story, how you got started, what's going on. The airwaves are yours, my friend. Tell us all about it.
Yeah, I've been racing since I was 4 years old. Of course, I come from a racing family. You could take it even farther back. My dad, he was racing down in the Snowball Derby. You guys might know what that race is. It's a big late model race. I was born December 4th, so he was down there racing, and he actually caught a red-eye flight back home, landed in Seattle, drove about 2.5 hours to where we live in Wenatchee, and he made it like a few minutes before I was born. So he was literally racing when I was about to be born. So, come from a pretty big racing family, and I started in quarter midgets at 4 years old, and then from there I went up to Hornets, and then I started racing late models around 13, 14 years old. Got my first win since I was 14, and kind of been hooked ever since.
Unbelievable. There you go.
When did want to do that? I want it.
When did they allow you? When did they allow
4
you?
years old. Wow.
I was going to say here you got to be 16 to drive they call it late. It was late model. Then it's super late now. Now they call it pro late models, what they call it out here now. So you got to be 16. So what are the age requirements? You're in Washington State, correct?
Yes.
So the age requirements are a lot lower there for you to get into it. Was it a late model, super late model, pro late model? What I'm Scratch. I don't know about you, but with all these pro late models, I get lost with all this. So what was it that you started in, Jan?
So I started in pro late models at 14. Pro late models and super late models to pro out here. It's a treaded tire, and it's got a crate motor. And the super late models are open tires and they're ran on slicks. Back when I was 14, I'm 24 now. It was kind of like unheard of for a 14-year-old to run a pro late model, but because of my racing experience and my dad being in racing, I was able to do it. Now, I mean, there's 12-year-olds, 13-year-olds winning late model races out there today, so it's pretty crazy to see.
Scratch, you got a question for him, buddy?
Yeah, man. No, I'm enamored with the fact of how crazy that is. I mean, but I love going to some of the local tracks, and there's always like somebody that stands out there like, oh, this guy's 13. You're like, oh my God, there's a 13-year-old in that car. That's crazy. But hey, man, when you grow up and you got a good teacher like you had, that's why you get started at 4 and build your resume. And like I said, man, once you get that victory, or for me, man, I race junk, but I love it, man. You know what I'm saying? Like I love just getting out there and just going around and being competitive and banging a little sheet metal, man. It's addicting.
I hear you. I'll definitely be racing the rest of my life. I took a couple of years off there when I was 19, 20 years old, trying to figure some stuff out with life, and you don't feel the same. You don't feel alive.
Right.
I know I'm going to be racing the rest of my life. I'm hooked. It is what it is.
That's great.
I like that. Now, besides your dad, who was a big influence coming up?
It really was mainly my dad. I had a Galen Stewart and his wife. They helped me race a midget a little bit. When I was really young in a quarter midget, I actually didn't even want to race. I was too scared. I mean, I wanted to race, but I was scared of loud noises. And Kelly and Leanne Tanner at the time, they helped me in a midget, quarter midget, to get out on the track. My parents walked away when I was so young. This was before my first race, and I was going out in the C main. And my parents even tried to taunt me by saying, you could get a video game if you go out and race. And I was like, you want me to risk my life for a video game? Um, so which is kind of crazy. But when they walked away, I put on a strong face for strangers, and I went out, and then I went from the C main to the B main to the A main, and I won the A main, and I was pretty much hooked from there too.
What video game did you get?
I don't even remember at the time, honestly.
I was just curious.
I wonder if
I probably
if you
didn't
tried,
even get one.
if you
Yeah,
tried that.
you got fooled.
I honestly think I was like on, video games aren't cool anymore. I'm into racing now.
Yeah, right. I can see that.
Do you do iRacing?
I tried it for a little bit. To me, it's really hard because I grew up racing. So like I race based off how I feel the car, like how tight it is or loose coming off the corner. So it's hard for me to get into it because it's like I don't know like what the skill is transfer is there for me, because I'm so used to feeling something.
Right.
I want to get back into it, but my thought process on that is if I'm going to, I'm going to need one that like moves a little or gives me
Yeah,
something. But I would love to get some training on there, especially going from different cars, like from like maybe a late model to a dirt midget. That would be nice. But I do not do iRacing right now.
Scratch got a question for you.
what do you prefer, asphalt or dirt when you're racing?
That's a hard question because I grew up on asphalt, and it might piss some people off for me to say dirt. But I will say the most fun I probably had in a race car was racing a dirt midget.
Yeah,
Um, I went from the back of the pack, my first dirt midget race, to a P5, and it was so fun. Just you got three different lines people are running. You're able to run the middle or run the high line or
yeah,
go in the bottom and slide up, and that was just so much fun. When you're winning in a late model and your car is dialed in, that's really fun too.
yeah.
Um, but I would say dirt's probably more fun to drive.
Yeah, there's a little more that factors in, I think, with the dirt for you as a driver. I think there's more things that factor in as a driver on the dirt. But yeah, I like them. I like them both. Watching them, racing them, I prefer asphalt a little more just because I haven't got the hang of dirt. But man, I sure do like watching it. You know what I mean? It's a
Yeah.
different monster than asphalt. It's fun to watch.
I
Yeah,
was
I
watching.
love watching dirt racing.
Yeah,
Sorry, go
you know
ahead.
what? No, I was going to say I was watching it. I don't know if you caught it, Scratch. And Jan, if you do you watch Dale Jr. on Dirty Mo at all?
I peep it sometimes. I actually watch the Denny Hamlin
You're like Denny
YouTube
show, okay?
podcast too.
Yeah.
I'll watch it while I'm like on my lunch break at work. It's actually one of my favorite shows. So I'll
There's a
catch them
really
both when I have time.
there's a really good episode. I'm trying to think. I think it was last week. I don't know how he records and he sends them out. But anyhow, there's a very, very good interview about how he talks about his father, Dale Sr., and when he started off racing, that he insisted that the kids try the dirt because he said the dirt would make them better asphalt racers. Now,
I'm sure that's
I don't
true.
know if I'm not somebody. I have sat behind of a wheel one time. That was it in a celebrity race. That's all I ever did. I used to race a little motocross when I was a kid and ended up busting my ass up pretty good. So I got off of that real fast. But driving on and Scratch, you've done a little bit of both, but Jan, you've done them both. Now, driving on the dirt, is the dirt made you a better asphalt driver, and vice versa? Has driving on the asphalt made you a better dirt racer?
I think just getting in the car, getting seat time, will make you a better driver. I kind of have a mixed opinion on this. A lot of people say dirt drivers can go to asphalt and be really good, compared to like asphalt drivers going to dirt, and I hear that for sure. But I've seen dirt drivers go to asphalt and they do terrible because it's completely different driving style, and you're trying to keep traction the whole time rather than in dirt you're breaking loose the whole time and creating speed around the track. I think if you're just a good driver, you're going to be a pretty much good driver in almost anything you do. But I could definitely see like dirt teaching you some things. but I don't think it always factors into being a good driver all around.
Scratch your shot. Go for it.
Yeah, man, I'm not a good driver. That's why I race junk. But dirt, I just could never get the hang of dirt, really. But at the same time, and as a matter of fact, my next enduro race is actually at a dirt track, so we'll see how I do. But yeah, man, like I'll just reiterate what I had said earlier about like I like watching the dirt. I believe though that it would probably make you better, but I liked what you said. Which is a good race car driver can race on anything. So that's the important thing. If you're good at it, if you're a good race car driver, you can drive on anything.
I'm going to pull one name right out of it, and he's proven is Kyle Larson. I mean,
sure.
Jan, what do you think? I mean, this guy, NASCAR suspends him because of dirty talk on the iRacing. Okay. So then he gets suspended from NASCAR. So then he goes ahead and starts running modifieds, starts running, the big block sprint cars and all that. What he enters 100, what was it, Scratch? 104 events and wins 88 out of them. So my question of it is, do you think? My thing of it is, I said this to him in an interview. I personally think in the United States, he's the best driver all around, the best driver in a race car in the States, top 5 in the world. Jan, what do you think? I mean, this guy's driving it all, man. What do you think, buddy?
Yeah, Kyle Larson's a monster. That guy's a different beast. He's I would agree with you on probably one of the best drivers in the world. I'm a big Kyle Larson fan because I'm a big dirt fan, dirt midget fan especially, and dirt sprint
Right.
car fan. I was watching Dirt 2 on Flow Racing. It's a pretty entertaining show if you guys ever want to check it out. That just kind of encases dirt racing, and yeah, Kyle Larson he's just a different beast.
What do you?
I,
Have you seen the new thing that's out, the new high limits? Have you seen it yet?
yeah.
It debuted here this past weekend.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I actually stopped by the Gene Woods Racing Experience and had a little fun in those drift carts with my buddy. He's sitting on the couch over there. It was his 21st birthday, so we were down on Fremont and we knew about the show, so we went and visited. He actually whooped my butt in him. But I was trying to explain, I'm like, hey, I was just trying to drift, I wouldn't say that might be for sure racing, but
I'm
we were talking
glad you
crap a
mentioned
little
that.
bit.
I actually beat Alan Michaels right there at that same track.
Oh my goodness! Wait, Gene is going to have a flip on this. That you were actually here. You were here this past weekend, and you were at the High Limit show, right?
Yeah, so that's what we came down there for his 21st birthday, and we love racing. So we checked out the High Limit show. Unfortunately, we flew back on Saturday, so the Thursday race got rained out, and then the Friday show got canceled. And we were at the NASCAR truck race too, and that pretty much got rained out. But we were expecting it to be warm down there. I wore 2 sweatshirts, and we still were like, we're gonna die sitting out here.
Yeah,
It's
that
so
weather,
cold.
that Vegas weather's different when it gets cold out there.
Yeah, it's definitely different.
Yeah, it's
So
a
you like
different
the
kind of
drift track
cold.
here, huh? Did you like the drift track we got
Yeah.
here?
Yeah, it was fun. I've been to a lot of different go-kart tracks and it was definitely like different. Some go-kart tracks aren't the most fun, but the fact that it has like a little drift factor into it, it's definitely fun. I was trying to ride the wall around the corners and it was kind of a blast. I enjoyed it.
He's pulling the old watermelon, man. He's going to do the Ross Chastain of Martinsville, man. There you go.
I did it a couple times on accident.
I talked to Ross. I actually interviewed Ross Chastain this past weekend, and off camera, I looked at him and I said, Ross, I said, I really appreciate it. And you guys learned it off the video game. But I said, if you would have tried that back in the late 80s, early 90s, that would have never happened because the wall wasn't built that way. The
Yeah.
old wall at Martinsville was just nothing but a guardrail on that one section. If he'd have tried it then, boy, he'd have probably, I don't know if Scratch, you remember when Mike,
the track.
you remember when Michael Waltrip crashed out big time at Bristol and broke that country time car in about 3 spots, right? If he'd have tried that then, it'd have been the way it was. I'm just telling you. That's good. So what's up next for you, Jan? 2025 season. What are you racing in? What's going on with the schedule this year, buddy?
Yeah, so upcoming here on the 26th, I'm going to run the Leonard Evans 150 at Wenatchee. It's actually a race in honor of my grandpa. I won it last year. It's a super late model race. From there, we go to Tri-State Challenge Series, which is a pro late model series sponsored by Hoosier. Top six, first gets 6,000, second gets 5,000, so on. We're basically for late models running the biggest money paying races out there. We're kind of a lower budget team, and I spent all winter finding partners and people to help us out. But we're not a low experience team. We're very experienced. We can get the job done. So we're going to try and make it to all the big money races and hopefully, make some money from those races to carry on to the next and finish our full schedule out. Um, but that's the plan for that on late models, and then I'm gonna go run some dirt midget races down in Pennsylvania, and that's gonna be the Appalachian Midget Week with the Extreme Outlaw Series, and then I plan on running one 360 sprint race before that down in Ventura, California, doing a little dirt sprint car school to get myself prepared to run the bigger dirt series down in back east.
I think you should very, very, very seriously think about bringing your late model asphalt car down to Las Vegas, October 18th.
Yeah, we've talked about it.
Open comp with 15 grand on the line, winner take all, my friend. I think you'd have a darn good shot at this. I'd like to see Scratch. I might have, if he comes down here, I might have to fly you out here for this.
I might have to come.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Open comp.
the Cars Tour West series is going to run there. That's probably something we'd run with them down there in Vegas. I think they run there a week after my last race or 2 weeks. So we might run that. If you find anybody that might want to help me buy a set of tires or can help us with hotels or something, like I said, we're kind of a lower budget team, but sometimes we have people that'll help us. Maybe they want to go down there and party a little bit and they're willing to help pitch in, but every little bit counts to make it.
I think I might. You keep in touch with Diane. I think I might be able to help you out with the hotels. I think I might be able to, if you wouldn't mind staying downtown. Okay, that's where I'd put you at, is downtown.
Of course not.
I put you a block. You know what? I put you a block away from the Gene Woods racing experience, and you can come hang out here, and we'll just drift out, and we'll sit here and do videos and send them to Scratch.
That's the most, yeah, thanks. Yeah, rub it in. I appreciate that. That's the best street in Vegas, believe it or not, Fremont Street. That's more fun than anywhere else. I lived out there 8 years, and I love Fremont Street.
See, I keep trying to talk him to move him back here, and he keeps trying to move me to Florida. So I don't know. We'll end up somewhere.
I know I'm pretty close to being talked into it, I think.
I think so. I think he's getting close to it. Jim, before we let you go, first of all, I want you to take a minute or two. Shout out to sponsors, social media, where they can find you at, updates and everything else, my friend.
Yeah, I want to thank the Lester Bros. They're one of my main sponsors this year. They helped me out. Big, huge thank you to Anthony and Chris. Angela Pioli, big thank you to her. Chad Davis, Brian Campbell, big thank you to him with Mini Mart Storage. I've just had a lot of people help me. Sue and Kelly Coleshaw, my dad, Garrett Evans, Glenn Knutson, my buddy Jordan, Chris Knutson. Just everybody that helps out on the car and helps us get to the track. I would not be able to do it without them. I'm very blessed to have people helping me make it there. You can find me on social media at Jan Evans Racing. I'm on Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, basically you name it. Trying to create some YouTube videos for this year too. Trying to gain some traction. I still got a little dream that I'm trying to make happen, and whether I make it in NASCAR or I race short track racing, I know I'm going to be racing the rest of my life. So,
is your goal to come to NASCAR?
I would love it. It'd be nice to race and focus on racing and not work. But, I work a full-time job too right now. Sometimes I'm working 7 days a week, but, it's all to go racing, because without racing, what is life?
Ain't nothing like it.
You're a third generation, right? A third generation driver?
You could say third, but more likely second generation. I'd say that the third is more like they're just into automobiles. But my dad is the true racer.
He's a true racer.
Man, good luck to you, brother.
Man, you know what? Down the road, I'd like to, you know what, Scratch? I'll have Diane reach back out to you. I'd like to have you and your dad on at the same time. This would be really cool. Father and son type of thing. We have never done a father and son here.
No, it'd be cool to hear each other's stories.
Yeah, I'd like to have that. I'm going to have Diane reach back out to you, Jan, and get you, if your dad's up to it, and join us one time, and we'll get a month or two down the road and have you guys back. And if your dad's got time, I'd love to have you both on, because this would be a really cool thing to have. Don't you agree, Scratch?
Yes, sir. I do. I think it'd be cool to hear them tell stories about each other along the way.
Yeah, I bet
it's been quite. I'm sure it's been quite a journey.
I bet it is. Jan, anything else that you'd like to pass along before I cut you loose here?
Not really. Just follow me on my Instagram, Facebook, Jan Evans Racing, and a big thank you to everyone that helped me out this season. And I'm excited to go show what we have.
You got to pull some strings here, Scratch. I got to pull some strings and get this young man down here to Las Vegas. I got to get him on the. Have you ever been on the bull ring, man?
No, but I've been there and watched a couple late model races.
You like that track, huh?
Yeah. My dad likes
you
it
got to
too.
get him here, Scratch. Here's that, and Scratch ain't far away from where he's at too. One hell of a racetrack down on South in Florida, down called New Smyrna Speedway. Down Scratch, what about 15 miles from you, where you're at, right?
Yeah. It's not that. It might not even be that far. It might be 15 miles. I don't know, but yeah, New Smyrna and then Volusia Speedway Park, where Kyle Larson won an outlaw race down here during Speed Weeks. Is out. Probably that was probably about an hour from me.
That's where you're running. Aren't you running up there next weekend?
No, I'm running in Ocala.
You're running in Ocala.
Yeah, for Tour of Destruction. So
all right, there you go. Jan, thanks so much for joining us, buddy. Appreciate it. What a great story.
Yeah, man. Good luck.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Have a great season, man. Jan Evans out there from Washington State. Going to run that super late models, running the dirt, running the asphalt. He's just kicking butt everywhere he goes. We got to get him to Vegas, man. More of On Pit Road Racing as we wrap it up for Thursday. Scratch down in Daytona Beach, Allen here in Las Vegas. Our special guest wrapping up, Mr. Jan Evans. Back for a final wrap-up in 2 minutes, everybody.
Are you ready for the wildest ride on Fremont Street? The Gene Woods Racing Indoor Go-Kart Track Experience. 450 Fremont Street, suite number 171 on the corner of Las Vegas Boulevard and Fremont Street. Open 7 days a week, noon until midnight. Strap yourself in, pull your safety belts tight, and feel the power and the speed at the Gene Woods Racing Indoor Go-Kart Track Experience, downtown Las Vegas. Fremont Street, 450 Fremont Street, suite number 171, right on the corner of Las Vegas Boulevard and Fremont Street. What are you waiting for? Log on, get your tickets now. It's time to go racing at the Gene Woods Racing Indoor Go-Kart Track Experience, 450 Fremont Street, downtown Las Vegas.
Come on! What the yeah! Oh man! Woo! That is awesome!
You got it right. I got a call, Scratch, from our buddy Jeremy Porter. He says, we got to come down there and see him, man. We got to come down there and see him.
Who?
At Atlanta Motorsports Park.
Oh yeah, man, we do.
I
remember we talked about that last year. I don't know why. Oh, I know. Are you worried about me beating you somewhere else? Beating you somewhere else? You just want to rematch it. You just want to rematch at Gene's place. You're afraid to go somewhere else.
All right. That's all right. He's got a place that he's putting together down in Kingman. Might have a little dirt area down there. I'd take you down there for that. Hey, a couple quick topics. I'm going to throw this across the board.
I'm no good at that.
I know. I ain't no good at the dirt. I ain't no good at any of it, man. I'm better off just.
Me neither, man. I'm fixing my car every time I race.
Gene called me today. He says he's looking at a NASCAR Craftsman truck. He found an old Brandon Gone truck. Yeah, he sent me pictures. I got to look at this thing out. Hey, I want to run over a couple of things for you, and I just want your inputs on it. Okay, so because our interview sort of ran there, but. NASCAR remains committed to coming back to Southern California. Fontana's been destroyed. The only thing that's left of it is a little piece of the back wall section. They're talking about building a 3/4 mile short track. What do you think?
Well, is that where they're talking about bringing it back to the 3/4 mile short track?
Well, they sold off a bunch of that land out there. Is what they did. It's sort of like what happened down here in Irwindale, okay, in California. Irwindale Speedway had been running for years and years, Scratch, and finally people kept wanting to buy the land. The number came across. Nope, it's not going to happen. No, this is our last year. Nope, it's not going to happen. Well, finally somebody wrote a number in the old school days, wrote a number on the napkin and slid it across the table. That number is what bought it. So Irwindale's done. So now here's the big thing. Auto Club Speedway, which has been torn down, played host to the final 2023 and also did the Clash. It ran a temporary half mile installed at the Coliseum football field. So that's what they're trying to do. They're thinking about building a half mile or 3/4 mile track. The problem of it has been money. Who's going to pay to get it done? Is the audience big enough in California? That's another thing. Fontana was so far away from LA. If you want to look at travel time, I mean, not far away, but to get the people out there, first 2 years it did pretty good. After that, it was Celebrity City. I mean, I just don't know if
long before that though they raced at Riverside,
right?
Didn't that draw a crowd?
That drew good
for the day, for the times though.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it's changed. Maybe the market changes. I don't know, but I'm just saying, like Riverside. I don't know. I think if they did something, they had something interesting, it would draw. Fontana, not very interesting. Cookie
it was
cutter.
big white. Michigan.
Right. It's a cookie cutter, so to speak. So, I mean, how many times you want to watch them run a cookie cutter track? They put something interesting there. Maybe.
Denny Hamlin and Kyle Busch said there were press notes about Denny Hamlin's talked about it on his podcast. Kyle Busch said something about it this past weekend that they were talking about short track and racing in California. Well, pretty much like you said, everything's gone. Irwindale's gone. There's a couple. Madeira's still running. You don't think that big speedways that Kyle and Denny both said if they're going to do something, let's put a short track in. So maybe that's the way to go. Maybe if they team up and maybe think about this. Maybe if they team up and think about putting a short track in there, then alongside of it put a drag strip. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see why they couldn't get some interest if they did something interesting and different. Like I said, Fontana was kind of more of a cookie cutter type track for me.
To me, it just reminded me of a big Michigan. Let me ask you about this. NASCAR announced an updated and open exemption provisional rule, which is used to secure a starting spot. Julio Castroneves did it for the Daytona 500. Teams must still request a provisional 90 days before the event. If there are more than 40 cars in the field, automatically expanded to 41. What do you think about this? I think it's good, and I'll let you. I think it's good that they allowed other people in, but to put an exemption in to get us started, shouldn't they do that for every race? Of course, right now we can barely put 40 cars in the field.
Right.
Go ahead.
They're not even putting 40 cars in there hardly at all. So, I mean, whatever that rule, but I think I said it while I was in the infield at Daytona during speed weeks for the 500 that I didn't like it for Julio. Not anything against him, but again, people like a Martin Truex Jr. and a Jimmy Johnson. Jimmy Johnson's a 7-time champion.
Right.
Martin Truex Jr. is a champion. They're running cars that aren't on the whatever they are, the charters.
Right.
I kind of try to just forget those things exist. But they're not on the charters, and for them not to get a provisional like that old school past champions provisional, I never really had a problem with that. I never had a problem with a past champion being able to have a guaranteed race. Past NASCAR champion, not just somebody to come from anywhere. Even if he is one of the best in the world, which Julio was. Yeah. Even for that, I don't want you to guarantee he gets in. I want to see him earn his shot against these NASCAR guys. I don't want to see him just get in for free. I mean, that really gives the team no motivation to do much of anything, does it?
I agree with you.
In the very beginning, except just show up and get Wendy's out there so everybody can see it.
Well, yeah, and next year Scott Dixon's already talked about wanting to apply or get a provisional to run next year. Which, okay, I sort of get that point of it.
I mean, I see where it doesn't. Where the one thing it doesn't hurt is it's not taken away from a NASCAR driver because they're just going to make it an extra driver if that's the case. So there's the good thing about it. It doesn't take away from an actual NASCAR driver, but at the same time, if you're not gonna let Jimmy Johnson, a 7-time champion, be that 41st driver if need be, then trash that thing. I don't like it.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I mean, hey, listen, I've had my picks and Pete's with 7-time. Okay.
Yeah.
But I didn't think it was right that if you're going to do something like that, then they should have given the exemption for him.
I've never been a, no offense to him, great career, great race car driver. I've never been a fan of Jimmy Johnson. So I assure you, me sticking up for him is because I believe a 7-time NASCAR champion deserves to be that 41st driver if there's some kind of provisional being put into these races, and not just Joe Schmo because he won, so many Indy 500s or this or that or the other thing. And I don't mean Joe Schmo by Helio. I'm just saying somebody else by any example. But yeah, man, that's just my thought, man. You shouldn't just let somebody come over here and try to get in. I mean, would they have done that for Travis Pastrana back in the day?
Travis had to, because Travis ran 2 years ago and had to qualify to get in.
Well, I'm just saying, they do. Travis Pastrana, great at his craft. Do we give him a provisional for the? We didn't do. It didn't exist back then. But I'm saying, it wouldn't that be comparable? Wouldn't that be comparable? A provisional for Travis Pastrana back in the day, who wasn't completely amazing in stock cars, but again, had a great resume, didn't he?
Yeah, he sure did. Well, I mean, they all did. And I sort of
Mickey agreed with me. I can see the comments now. I figured that part out. Mickey agreed with me. That's nice. Somebody does, at least. I
mean, I sort of get the IndyCar guys because the NASCAR guys are trying to do. Tony Stewart's done it. Andretti's done it. Kurt Busch has tried it. Kyle Larson's done it. They've, and I get it. They want to expand. They want to expand now. Driving an Indy car, driving an Indy. In fact, at the press conference, there was a question asked about Kyle about going back to Indy this year, and he said driving the stock car to the Indy car, just two total different animals across the board. Just
giving somebody an opportunity to come and run. In my mind, well, I mean, it is the Super Bowl of motorsports, but in my mind, one of the greatest races in NASCAR history, the Daytona 500, just to give that out willy-nilly, and you not earn it doesn't seem right to me. Now, listen, a guy like Jimmy Johnson, let's say he don't make it. He's earned it, man. Give it to him. Martin Truex Jr., one championship. He's earned it, man. If you can win a championship in NASCAR, I think you've earned that spot to make sure you're able to race if you show up with your car. Other than that, though, if you're coming from the outside, man, you got to prove you can hang with these boys and girls on occasion when we have, you got to hang with them or hang with them or go on back to the house and try it again next year.
Try it again. There you go. Yeah. What's up for you next week? You racing this weekend or you off this weekend?
No, I'm going to show you what I'm doing this weekend.
Oh, my goodness gracious.
I'm doing this clutch right here this weekend. I do want to shout out, though. I want to thank my boy Tim from TG Scoops, the ice cream shop in South Daytona, one of my sponsors. He made sure we got the clutch. And that's as far as he's going with that. He's not helping. But I don't care. It's all right. I'll get me and my boy Gene and my boy JD. We'll be down at C&L Towing this weekend. That's what I'm doing. I'm doing that clutch right there that TG Southern Scoops bought me. So I'm pretty thankful to have them on board. And then I'll be racing the following Saturday, provided this clutch thing works out. Right. I'll be racing the following Saturday at Ocala Speedway, which is a dirt track. So it'll be the first time I ran on a dirt track since a long time ago, man. But it's Tour of Destruction, man, and I love their promotion. So wherever they're at in Florida, I'm gonna go run with them.
Real quickly, that IndyCar's at Thermal Club this weekend, and now can anybody beat Chip Ganassi? Because man, they went 1-2 with Alex Below winning it down there, Dixon, man. So it's going to be a tough day. Penske's going to have a tough time this weekend. I think Chip Ganassi's found something. And just to let everybody know, F1 got kicked over in Melbourne, Australia last week, land down under. Lando Norris picked up the win for McLaren. Big time victory. Defending champion Max V finished up in second. George Russell in third. Everybody wanted to know how Lewis Hamilton did. Lewis Hamilton making his first start in Ferrari finished 10th. The two Haas drivers 13th and 14th. So not too bad. Not too bad for Lewis jumping into the Ferrari the first time around. Not a great finish, but a top 10. So, he's going to have to work some things out. I'm sure the Ferrari drives a lot different than what that Mercedes did. But there you go. F1, everybody's racing, man. I love it. Everybody's kicked in now. Everybody's locked and loaded. Local racing's going on. You got local racing down there. Don't forget New Smyrna, man. Get a chance to scratch, get down there and talk to a few of those local drivers down there for us. Throw some tape on them. Great track,
man.
Great track down there. I love New Smyrna. When I lived in Florida, I used to love to get down there. Had a great time in New Smyrna. Bull Ring's getting fired up. Just to make an announcement here, we just got done with everybody at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. They've asked us to do 5 shows out there. We're committed to 4. I think we can get the 5th one in. It just sort of times out. We've got a date on the calendar for some Speedway stuff that we've got to go cover. But we're going to bring you some action from local. Get out and support local racing wherever you're out. If you're down in Florida where Scratch is at, there's some great tracks down there.
A lot of tracks.
Yeah,
a lot of tracks in Florida.
Yep, a lot of good tracks. But get out and support it because that's where all the big guys get. Whether you're an open wheel racer, or whether you're a stock car, your drag car, dirt, asphalt, doesn't make no difference.
Junk.
If you're racing junk like he racing the junk cars, maybe I had to get a junk car.
Dude, let me tell you, man, this is fun. This Tour Destruction stuff is fun. There's one thing I'll say, man. They sell out a lot of shows, and there's a lot of people in those stands. And, that's something that you don't get to see often at local short tracks. Not just because they're not, it's not packing out every Saturday like we would love to see at short tracks. But these Tour Destructions, they sell out. The stands are packed. We're out there to put on a show. And I'll just tell you, even the events I'm not involved in, like when they do the skid plate racing and the chain racing and the push car racing and the reverse racing and all these crazy things, man, school bus figure 8 racing, trailer racing, it is a great show, man. I as a race fan, I'm like, hey, I get to watch a great show. Oh yeah. And I'm going to race a couple times in it too, man. It's great.
They used to have big rig. They used to have big rig racing at the Bull Ring.
I wish they would do. I wish they would do that somewhere around here. I'll get one of them CNL towing trucks out there.
I'm talking about the big semis, man.
Oh, they have. That's what I'm saying. They have them. We pulled our cars to the track with one of them.
I mean, black smoke roaring all the way around this thing. I mean, it was something else. They brought it out there a couple of times. Those trucks, they actually did pretty well. Great race.
Like the intro to Smokey and the Bandit Part 2.
Yeah.
That's what the snowman was doing when they found him to try to go find the bandit. I know that because I just watched it again the other day. It's not like I actually remembered that from a long time ago.
Jackie Gleason, great in it. You dumb beat. You dumb beat.
Yeah, he's great.
Get home, I'm going to smack your mama.
He was great.
Great racing out this weekend. NASCAR's down in Florida. If you're out there on the East Coast in Miami, be careful. The red tide is coming in tonight. Today sometime. It's supposed to clear out. I remember the last time, man, you get the dead fish. But anyhow, you got there. Let's see. You got NASCAR there. F1's in China this weekend. Thermal Club for Indy cars. World of Outlaws are in Texas. The Modifieds are in Georgia. Everybody's racing, man. Everybody's racing.
Except me. I'm fixing mine.
You're fixing yours.
That's almost as fun. I will tell you this, man. I don't like working on my own car. But I sure don't mind working on my race car, if that makes sense.
There you go. All righty. Any final comments where they can find it? What about the Scratch Comedy Show? We doing anything this week?
Not this week at all, man. I'm taking it a little easy this week. I had a pretty good week last week. And like I said, I went down and got a few things prepped on the race car, getting ready to go and put some work in on it this weekend. And so I'm just kind of got that in the plans for right now. I'll do that. And I am a host karaoke tomorrow night at Mulligan's Grill in Port Orange. So we'll host that little party there. That's always a fun time. And, like I said, man, we'll be elbows deep in clutches this week.
Elbows deep in clutches. There you go. We'll be back at you next Thursday. Let me see if I'm not mistaken. I pulled my notes up here. Mickey Gentili's going to be on with us next week. He's going to be joining us. He's going to talk a little racing with us. Coming up first 2 weeks in April, man, we're going drag racing because the NHRA is coming. We're going to have the Skaggs racing team. That's Jake Coughlin Jr., Eric Anders. They're all coming on. Josh Hadgett, Vice President of Media Relations. I got a little special surprise. I got a thing working in a deal. I got Matt Hagan coming on, buddy. And if everything and if the cards fall right, then his partner, the Smoke himself, will join him, Tony Stewart. Okay, so we're working on that deal. NHRA is coming to town. Want tickets for it? LVMS.com or the NHRA.com. They're here in about 2 weeks. Okay. Final comments where they can find you social media, Scratch.
Hey man, go to my website, comedyfromscratch.com. Make sure you spell scratch with a K. You can also go to nutshackentertainment.com, which will take you to a page on comedyfromscratch.com because I'm too cheap to have 2 different websites, even though it's 2 different websites. So that's the way to do it though. But then you can find me everywhere. You can find out, you could probably end up on my doorstep.
There you go. Just for us, just on Pit Road Racing, just drop his Gmails. You got to be a guest. Reach out to Diane. She's real busy. That's what she's doing. She's having a ball with this. She's got her new laptop computer. She's got it all. She's just a rocking and rolling with the guests. So that's what we're happy doing. Want to thank everybody at Las Vegas Motor Speedway out there for Bass Weekend. Congratulations, Chris Powell retiring. They asked him in the press conference what Chris Powell was going to do since he's not going to be the president and general manager anymore, Scratch. He went out and bought himself a nice big fat motorhome. He got his golf clubs all tuned up, and he says that he's going to hit the road and he's going to try to hit as many golf courses that he can hit. So that's where him and his beautiful wife, Missy. So there. And then we found out that our good friend Jeff Motley's also leaving. He was the vice president of media relations and communications at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. 26 years he's spent there. Brand new job out there with the sports department. He's going to be working with NCAA football, basketball. Final Fours coming here. The college football championships. And I guess we're looking at Super Bowl coming in within the next 6 or 7 years. We could get another shot at that. So he's working with another company. But Jeff was just a great guy for us, man. He took care of us. You know, it was a good interview. And I said this, and I'll leave on this one too, Scratch. You know, when we first got here and started doing it, Jeff just didn't give us, and the Speedway just didn't give us carte blanche. Okay. We didn't get hot passes the first 2 years we were here. Right. He made us work for it. I mean, you know, we had to show loyalty to the track, loyalty to him, showing that, you know, that we were going to treat people right, that we weren't just, you know, autograph people looking for autographs and signatures, that we were really there to do what we did. So it's a big shout out for him. I don't know who's going to be replacing him. They've replaced the presidency. In fact, we've got an interview that we're going to be doing with him. But Jeff's spot is still open. So whoever takes that job's got some big shoes. But just a great shout out to a great guy, man. And we wish Jeff Motley all the best of luck in the world in his new position. And who knows?
I never had an opportunity to meet him, but I know a lot about him just with speaking with you, and I've been able to be part of reaping the benefits of all of it all along the way for some years now with you and be a part of on Pit Road Racing. So I got to say I appreciate him as well, and good luck on his next journey. Again, even though I never met him in person, I feel like I know him just talking to you.
You know, on the weekend, he always said his middle name was I Need. Jeff, I need. Jeff, I need. Jeff, yeah, I need. The last thing I said to him before I left, I said, God bless you. I love you, brother. And I said, hey, Jeff. And he looked at him and he goes, Jeff, I need. He looked up at me and I said, when the new job comes and you get those college football tickets, don't forget your old buddy here, huh? There you go.
Right.
All right, let's call it for it. Scratch, thanks so much, buddy. I'm going to call it for John, and we're going to take it home, man. Here. Thank you for joining us today. Alan Michaels here in Las Vegas, scratching the Bay, Daytona Beach. Dr. Anji Thornton, thanks so much for joining us on the program. We'll have her back. Jan Evans, too, man. What a great kid this is, man. I might have to buy this kid some tires and some fuel to get him here to Las Vegas. Back at you next Thursday, 3 p.m. on the East Coast. Or 3 p.m. on the West Coast, 6 on the East Coast. Back to the day, Alan Michaels. John, take us home, buddy.
Thanks for joining us for On Pit Road Racing. Follow us on our website, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at On Pit Road Racing. On Pit Road Racing is written and produced by WCOBN TV. I'm John the announcer for On Pit Road Racing.